Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Khadija Abdullahi. Yeah, I am the host for My News Lounge, and today my co-host is one of our panelists. And what we already said that we'll be switching things around. We're not going to be the usual conventional podcast kind of thing. This is one of them, and today we have Halima Yunusa on board today. Thank you for coming. It's exciting to have you, and we're in your beautiful place. By the way, we're going to talk about her place during the whole conversation. And what today we're going to be talking about divorce. The divorce rate is alarming, and we're scared. We're scared as usual because in My News Lounge, what we talk about on the Motherhood to Nationhood series, we worry about the family system, and when there's too much divorce, it becomes very worrisome, and we need it's one topic that we must talk about. And today we have a fantastic mother, wife, who has seen a lot of, I wouldn't say seen it all, nobody sees it all. So with us today, and Dr. Maimuna Salim will share her experience, how it has been. She's had maybe one or two divorces, and she'll tell us how it feels like, how it has been. And thank you. So I'd like to introduce, I don't have you'll introduce her for me.
So thank you, everybody. Today I am one of the panelists, but I'll be a co-host also when I need to be, and diversify myself. And we have wonderful Halima here, Yunusa. She is the owner.
Halima. And I like that.
Yes, she's the owner of this beautiful boutique. Guys, you need to come and see this boutique. It's called 41 Relax. She also has one in Lagos, and she's opening up a pop-up store in Atlanta. So
nice.
Watch the space.
Yes.
Thank you. So do you want me to
introduce
myself?
Okay.
My name is Halima Yunusa, but most people call me Tata. A lot of people call me Tata. So when you call Halima, like, people don't realize to say Tata.
Okay.
I've been married for 20 years in June. I have 3 kids and a wonderful husband. When you said wonderful Halima, I'll just add a wonderful husband. The mix. We've been in operations here at 41 Lux for about 12 years now, and looking to expand to different regions, starting with pop-ups and just generally blending life with business.
Wow, beautiful. That's super, Halima.
Yes.
Congratulations. Because congratulations. I like to see powerful women. You are married for 20 years. Wow, that's 2 decades.
Yes.
That's a whole lot.
Yes.
And then running a business like this, and even opening in other branches. You are one of the entrepreneurship leaders that we have in Nigeria, and that's beautiful. Thank you so much. I'd like to read out a little bit of the statistics of the depth and the seriousness of what we're talking about today. So that I saw one online, and it said crude divorce rate among ever married persons aged from 10 to 85 in Nigeria was 13.4%. That's separation was 16.1, and marital dissolution 29.5 per 100 by 1,000 persons. This suggests that about 3% of marriages in Nigeria are dissolved through divorce or separation. Now, my first question will go to you, Halima. And one of the things, let me give you a rundown of what we do in MML is we want to tell stories. Like, you have stories of your friends or your family members, you don't have to call their names, but these are stories that will help other people who are thinking of divorce not to divorce, not to go through the process, because we're not saying that people should stay in a toxic relationship. What we're saying basically is for people to think it through and understand that where two animals fight, it's the grass that suffers. And in this case, we're talking about the children. So we need to think about it before we go. When I know that a lot of people will say in Hausa land they say "Kidu bayara" and all of that, but most it's really not about the children. It's about you, but also we also need to make some sacrifices when it comes to our children as mothers. So the first question is, how does divorce affect a mother's role and responsibility? What are the economic and emotional impacts of divorce on mothers, and how do this challenge? Okay, let me just say it's like too many questions in one. So how does divorce affect a mother's role and responsibility?
In my opinion, I tend to hear a lot of stories, and generally, sometimes I feel like the onus is always put on the woman.
Yes.
And you couldn't maintain your home, it's all your fault, this happened, and you're the one that will deal with it, you're the one that will face the issues going forward. I have a lot of male friends, and I find that it's not the woman only going through it.
Yes.
It affects the man as well, because a man will want to take care of his home, and he's seen as a failure if that breaks down.
I agree with that.
That breaks down. And so how it affects us women is we are very emotional beings. And the truth of the matter is, it's not okay inside, then everything around us sort of, for some time, shifts, because you really want to care about everyone, nurture everyone around you, nurture everything, every aspect of your life. So basically with that, there will be some days that you would I find that they feel, wasn't I enough? Wasn't I adequate? Where did I go wrong? Where would I have made it better? And it doesn't help that social media amplifies a lot of things, and the abuse, I will call it, is mostly targeted at us, like I mentioned initially. So that way, it's affecting you psychologically with the stories, shaming a divorcee.
Yes.
That shame comes from society, culture. Well, here as we are in Nigeria, I would say, or Africa,
religion,
and then religion comes into play. I am a Christian from the northern part of Nigeria. I'm from Borno State, and we were all brought up the same way.
Yeah,
and
we're
told
basically
it's
the same culture.
We just have different methods of worshiping God, and no religion will support divorce.
No.
So it's not easy to say, it's okay for the Muslim girl to be divorced because she will remarry. The Christian girl, it's clearly stated in the Bible, there's a difference there. So you have that misconception, and then you just go in with guilt, or you go out rather with guilt. Your psychology is affected, your thinking pattern, if you're going to work, if you have to go for school runs with the married moms there, and then you being the single mom,
and all
tend to just keep, so some people will tell you, I'm not judging, but it's there. It's there. Or they say, we need to do a contribution, and some daddies will bring in large sums. You are managing yourself for the daddies that are not supporting this woman, because there's that large exactly in
absolutely
that, so they would bring their widow's mite, and they're looked at as madam, if you had stayed at home, probably you would have contributed the same amount. And how do I go and justify to my friend, my fellow sister, that we're contributing 50k, all I can afford for this month is 20,000. In every area of your life, it will affect you. Absolutely. You've pointed out.
You've already answered the economic aspect of the question anyway. Yes. It affects every aspect of our lives.
Yes.
And I'd like to ask you your point of view, because you've lived it.
Yes. And I'm just listening to Halima, and I'm having those palpitations.
Yeah.
Because being a young mother and being a divorcee, I got married quite young, and I had a little child, and I got divorced, and the stigma is there. I come from a very cultural,
even from the children themselves.
Exactly, cultural background, Islamic background, and everybody looks at you. And in my family, I was literally the first person that got divorced. Okay. So everybody looks like, what is wrong with you? What have
the entire family?
The entire family.
Wow.
Everybody looked at me, and my parents have been together for years. They're still together. So everybody's like, "What is wrong with you?" You know, and everywhere you go, like, you know, you feel it because you go to a family function, and everybody has their spouse, and you are there, and you have this child, and everybody's like, "Oh, why? What happened?" You know, and you know, going to, like you spoke about the schooling friends, schooling environment. Everybody, there's always that stigma. You can hear it. It's not been said to you.
You can feel
The
it.
body language is there, and then the children also look at you as if, "Mommy, why? Why
Yes.
did you do it? It's your fault."
It's your fault.
And I was always blamed. I was blamed. My daughter blamed me. You know, as young as she was, she felt like, "Mommy, this is your fault.
Daddy can't do wrong.
Daddy can't do wrong." And you know, and then I would question myself: did I do the right thing? What did I make the right decision? And you know, then I would start feeling inadequate, and I feel and despondent, and I'd say, maybe I should have stayed and fought this. But then, to what extent? What happens to me? I lose myself.
You lose yourselves.
And you know, economically, it affects you in a way that, okay, let me speak about when I got divorced, and then I had applied for a job in Dubai. And fast forward, I did get the job. And then when I quit, I said to them, "Oh, by the way," because they didn't ask me during the divorce, during the interview, if I'm married. And then I said to them, "Oh, I have a daughter, and I'm single. I'm a single mom." They said, "Unfortunately, we cannot accept single mothers in Dubai." And I thought, wow, this is hindering on my
Yes.
my career because of just being a single
So right
mom.
for the job for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and it really pained me. The stigma, I mean, I remember my dad says, "You know, divorce does not happen in our family. And what you did is unacceptable, you know?" And I looked at him and said, "But I was going through this first."
So, May, can I stop you just a little? Your dad said what you did was unacceptable. So I want to ask you, were you the one that sought for the divorce, or was he the one that?
So I was in a real marriage. So he used to physically abuse me, and yeah. So I couldn't
but you
stay
just
there. I
said
said,
enough
"Well,
is
that's it. You emotional abuse
Yeah.
also." And I said, "What am I doing here? I'm struggling. I'm striving. I'm working. I'm a career woman also, and I'm doing my best. And now you're abusing me, emotionally and physically. Why should I be here?" And I said, "That's it. I'm getting divorced."
Because if you abuse physically,
Yes.
you can't come out the next day and claim everything is okay.
Yeah.
So it affects the job.
It affects everything about
everything. about you. You can't hug your child
Yeah.
because you start
Yes.
crying
Yeah.
and wondering, "What am I doing this for you?"
Yes.
Or
That's it.
And no, the thing is, I like that you said that am I doing this for you? Because a lot of times, if it's a boy child that you have or a girl child, you're not helping them at all, staying in it. And I'm sorry, I just have to bring that in
Yes.
because we're not talking about that right now. But
Yes.
you are not helping her staying in an abusive marriage.
No, not at
We
all.
need to state that because some people will think that, oh, we are talking about abuse, we are talking about divorce and people should stay in divorce and all of that. No, but you're not helping her because she's seeing you
Exactly.
lose yourself. She knows. If she doesn't know now,
Yes.
when she grows up into that kind of toxic environment, it doesn't help her.
It doesn't help at
It
all.
affects everything about
Yes.
her self-esteem, everything.
Yes.
Sure,
If it's a
naturally grow
boy,
up to feel like that's acceptable. in
that's
society.
acceptable in
Because that's where I'm
society.
coming
And
from.
then when somebody is abusing her, she thinks that
That's love.
that's how love is.
And
Like we're having cases, you
Yes,
and I
we have
introduced
cases.
database for others.
Yes.
And then for the boys, they see that when they see their fathers beat their mothers, it's something they emulate.
Exactly.
And then they grow up with it and say that's how a woman is supposed to be treated. So both ways, that is unacceptable.
It's unacceptable. And
That's
you know,
unacceptable.
in saying that, I mean, so I have 3 children, and I have 2 boys and a girl. And being a single mom is already a stigma, and it's tough. It's very tough in South Africa. You know, you always have to strive to prove yourself all the time, and try to say, okay, I am doing the best that I can. But the kids always turn around and look at you as if you are the one who did everything
The villain,
wrong.
yes.
You are the villain, and because of my strong character, I was always labeled the villain. Through the family, through everybody, I was the villain. But nobody knows what I was going through and what I had to contend with all the time. And I said, am I going to live like this and allow my kids to see me being destroyed? And it's going to destroy them also. And the essence of marriage is not about only the children, it's about you. And what you bring forth in the marriage. And I mean, I need to be sane all the time to function. And I could not function. There are days I would lie in bed and do nothing and cry and just become a recluse with myself.
And unproductive.
And unproductive. And I said, but this is not the life. So it's saying that people need to understand that it's, you as a person need to be confident within yourself and understand you first before the next person. Love yourself.
Need to survive.
I started loving myself because I never used to love myself. I loved it because I grew up in a home where there was love, there was marriage, there was togetherness. So I saw my mom always subservient to my dad, always giving off her everything for him. And I said, this is how it should be. And then I said, Mimina, you lost.
Yeah.
You've lost yourself. Find yourself. Don't give yourself up. And that's how I managed to climb out of it. Yes, with time, also therapy. I had to go to therapy. I had to take my kids for therapy because it affected a lot. It's my relationship with my kids, my psyche. I mean, you find that I always say to people, and they say, how's everything? I say, the one thing I'm doing well is flourishing in my career. My home life, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle it. I said I'm a failure in my home life because I don't know how to balance it. My kids, I don't know what to do with them. I don't know how to handle things because I'm confused. And this is the effect it had on me personally.
Thank you very much for that. Like,
It's bold.
it's bold to say it. I don't think you've ever said it the way you said it. You say, but it's good that you're saying all of these things because we have a lot of people going through. Like I just read out the statistics, and it's really there, and it's crazy, and it's scary too. So I'd like to ask, wonderful Halima, can we discuss the unique challenges faced by children when their parents are divorced, considering the cultural and societal norms we have?
What I find a lot, what I see a lot is the kids just go back into themselves. There's only so much. Each child has their traits, each child has their own mannerisms and the way they function. But with that effect, without proper guidance, therapy, reconnection, having a conducive enough environment to thrive, we don't have to be together.
Correct.
To coexist. Dad is here once in a while, you are with your dad. They go into the shells and almost like you're looking at someone that it's totally different.
Totally.
So I like the angle you're looking at is it you that is the mother looking at them or the father? Because what we're saying is the children now, how do you think that affects them and for their productivity?
It's not easy these days. I think for people maybe my age and above, social media did not exist.
Yes.
So
we're grateful for that.
Yes.
I was looking back someday, I said, I'm grateful I did not grow up with social media.
Exactly.
I didn't have that distraction.
So there was no discussion, public open discussions where, where's your mom, where's your dad? Sometimes it's just easy, daddy has traveled. And you can tell a story, daddy is away for 6 months, and then you have a good 6 months that everything is fine.
Yes.
Right? So people grew up and they were okay, seemed to be okay. But traits that they're portraying now, you trace it back to that time. There were times that this person wasn't really 100%. Could this have affected them? Now with our own kids, we're fully aware, socially available, they see things, they read things, and they have stories, and they sort of, you never know if they create those stories in their heads.
Some of them do.
Yes, create
Some of them
stories in
even
their heads.
imagine stories
Yes.
because like they read stories and they imagine themselves to be
Yes.
part of the story.
Absolutely.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
so they now try to make mom this person or dad that person. I can't control.
You can't.
To a large extent, there's only so much. If they're in boarding school, they hear stories from people,
Yeah.
and you don't see them till, say, half term or when the school closes, or visiting days for schools that don't go on half term. So how are you able to control? What are the teachers telling them? Have they ever come across some teachers talking about their parents? Like that one that the mom is always here on her own, said, no father. I feel, I know it will affect any and everyone.
So when you said no father, sorry, I'm cutting in quickly because so that I don't forget. When you said no father, I remember a case around me. I know it's a family friend or something that they went to ask for the hand in marriage of that. So she has a son, and she was a single mother. She was a single mother. And
Her son was getting
married. And you know this house are northern.
Where's the
And
father?
they went, do you know, the father of the bride, of the girl, now said to the family that I'm not giving my child to, how did he even say it in Hausa? Ubao Namachi. That's the father, mother.
Okay.
He wasn't raised by his father. If a woman that does not have a husband. So the stigma is it's everywhere. It's different degrees and levels. Everything you want to do, there's that thing that comes out, and then it just comes out of them, and and then you feel, like she said, you feel as if you are not enough. Then I don't know how the children are feeling, because I know I have one. So I raised a stepdaughter, and it took me, I don't know, it took me forever until it took me forever. Like, I think I overcompensated
Yes.
for her mom not being around.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And it had some, in retrospect, I think when I look back, I felt, even, I didn't know, one time my daughter was telling me that you overcompensated to the extent that sometimes she bullies us and you take sides with her.
Wow. So that's the effect it has on even your own biological kids. And I would assume or say that you tried so hard, you made her
hard, yes.
And then so you don't want to, when people see you, oh, I have 3 kids, but that's my step. No, I have 4 daughters.
Yes.
And she, in her adolescence, will not take into cognizance that this lady is doing the most for me. But I bet you, like I always say, it always comes around. You get married because I'll always pray for you to get married. And that's when we pray to God that it doesn't happen to you. Because if it happens to you, then you will understand what I went through. And then I feel like it takes that long for them to now sometimes.
Now then when they get, I appreciate you.
And everything you've
done.
done.
The first time she sent me a letter when she went to the secondary school, she said to me that I am grateful for all the values. Now I see why you were so hard on us.
You see?
Because she said the way children behave around here, mommy, it's crazy. I don't want to be like that. That was the first time she said that to me. And then when she was going to the university, I think that was another thing she said. But we're talking about how it impacts on children. You said something. You said they become like recluse. They don't say much, but there are so many things going on in their minds. And we worry about, we're talking about motherhood to nationhood series. We're worrying about the next generation of our children. So if we have a leader, somebody who came from a divorced home, having to sit on the C-seat, or there's a seat on the decision-making table, how is the mental acuity of that person?
It's funny this question is coming up. I was watching a South African series on Netflix, and then the person, the actor, very successful policeman, just went ahead and was doing great things, but he eventually bumped into his mom, who had not been in his life all his life. And the first thing when he starts crying is, where were you? You dropped me with your best friend, but where were you? I needed my mom. It was okay for your best friend. She never told me. He insinuated that she never mentioned she wasn't his mom. He grew up knowing that, but then the reality is now set in.
Wow.
So it's now bottled up emotions that he's had. He was successful, and I will tell you there are a lot of successful kids from
doing
the bosom.
well,
Yes,
making
and they're trying so
contribution.
hard. Even if they get married, I'm never going to put anyone through this.
Correct.
So they're working harder than people that haven't experienced divorce, don't know what divorce is. They will make it their point to just make sure things are forging
Yes.
on. But without therapy, without speaking to people, without dealing with the issue,
Correct.
it's bottled up and one day it will come out.
It always comes out.
They're the nicest people, they're the calmest people,
Yes.
they're the most established and achieve a
Yes.
lot. One reaction.
It comes out. And let me give you an example.
So now what do we do about that?
Let me-
It's more conversations regarding
yes,
this.
we have to talk about
We
it.
have to talk about
And
it.
you know,
Awareness.
speaking about it, I say the stigma around women when it comes to divorce is so bad that, and I'll give you an example myself again. So I would say to my son, you need to go and visit your dad, and I'll encourage the relationship. Dad, come take your son because he's a boy, and you need to have this relationship, fine. And the dad would let him down. Day one, he'll say, okay, it's coming for him, he would not pick him up. Disappointment. Day two, disappointment. The disappointment over and over again until I said to my son, we need to do something about this because your dad is not coming for you, and he became a recluse. He became upset. He would not talk. And then, guess who would get the brunt of it?
You.
Me. I would get blamed.
Yes.
It's my fault. I was not a good parent. I was not a good mom. I know in me that I tried my best. I did everything, but fingers would be pointed at me, guns blazing, that you were not the good parent. And then I look at it and say, and what of your dad? No, but it's your fault because if it wasn't through you, he would be here. And that killed me.
It's painful.
It's painful because I say, so the dads just get away with it.
I think the patriarchy thing is deeper than we always talk about.
Yes.
Because it goes across permeates every sphere of our lives. In our marriages, in our educational system, in our political system, everything. The patriarchy is loud and is there.
Yes.
So, and even the children now begin to think that it's always the fault of the mother.
So I'd like to put it in my own way, the way I see it. I'll always say it, I'll tell. So when women owe equality, it can never happen.
I'm glad you're coming around with that.
You need to just know it will never happen.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I explained it to my kids and I said, Daddy is the head of the home. Mommy
correct.
is the neck.
Correct.
The head won't move without mommy assisting. So you're not going to make me feel like I'm not doing my
Own bit.
my own bit. We are working together. So we have good cop, bad
As a
cop,
team.
Yes.
and they know. They will say, just go straight to him because he'll tell her, he'll ask for opinion, and then she'll just blurt it out in a way that you don't want to hear it. Because whether we like it or not, moms are the ones that have the hard. Dads compensate because I'm not here. I'm working. So when I come, it's all nice. It's all sweet.
And then they come up to mess up everything you have built.
And then you now sit
and then
down
you
and you're
now.
like, I was cooking and I'm shouting at you, just get out of the kitchen, do this, we need to clean this.
Yeah,
You're
the bad
villain.
cop.
Yes.
So whether you divorce mom or
The mom there.
when mom is just active and fun, this mom.
Yes.
So like I have my voice and then my personality, I'm very in your face, so it's like, this mom is just too much, you're doing too much, you're overdoing.
Yeah.
Daddy, I'd rather talk to you. That's fine, I'm good. As long as I know I'm going to hear the situation later on. And it's good for you to have your secrets with your dad.
Yes.
Have your secrets with me. But let's never encourage the disunity.
Yes.
So I always try in the little ways that I can to ask my friends, to ask people I know, is there, and so I would want to ask a question I know you are asking.
Yeah, I know, it's
Is
fine.
there a possibility of we remaining cordial? Can we, do discussions like that happen?
Yes.
Because you know, no matter how long you dated, if it was 6 months, 3 months, but there was something that made you say, I'm going to marry this person.
Yes.
I want to spend the rest of my
I want
life
to
with
spend
that
the rest
person.
of my life with this person. You grew up with your parents together. You saw them, everything was well done. Yes, your moms
Yes.
all we give everything for
Yes.
dad. But there was something
Yes.
that you said, this is my person.
Yes.
Why can't some people have that cordial relationship? Bros, come now.
Yes.
Come and help us do this. Oh, come and do this. Come and. I might be dating.
Yes.
If I were divorced, I might be dating.
Yes.
The woman is dating. Then he doesn't want to interfere in your territory. Your guy is there, but can't we watch movies and we see how the stepdads and
how they work together.
but
Because
I don't know if it's an African thing or I don't know.
Yeah.
it doesn't
Why?
have to be hate
Yes.
all the time.
Correct.
It has, and then even before you get to that stage of thinking of a divorce, a lot of us, you've been married 20 years. I'm going to be 31 years married this year by September. The thing is that have I ever thought of divorce? Yes, many times. That's the truth. Many times I've thought about that. But why haven't I? So my friend and I sat down one day. We're talking about this divorce thing, and I said, "This is what I did for myself." I sat down and I told you that,
Yes.
and this is what I told. I began when I did that for myself. So when all these young girls come and they're thinking of divorce, I was able to help them.
Because it's a natural feeling to
Yes.
sometimes you can't be in love all the time.
Yes, it's not every day you're in love, you feel love. It's not every day, even if you're spiritual beings, it's not every day you feel spiritual.
No, correct. Not.
There are times that it's up, there are times that it's medium, there are times that it's completely flat, and that's how love works.
Yes.
So I did this. I sat down and maybe this may be solution for people that are listening. So there are different indexes. What are my indexes? I looked at, okay, is he mindful? Is he a spiritual person?
This is from
Can I
21
guess?
years ago.
Yeah, this is a few years ago
When
when
you did an
I sat down
analysis,
and
okay.
I did my own analysis. I'm like, okay, why do I want to divorce him? Why do I want to leave? And I sat down and I thought about the 4 things that I need. The 4 so you have this like a chart, 1, 2, 3, 4 quadrants, quadrants. And then you look at, when you have you have 4 wheels that you stand on that the car sits on, right? So when one leg is not, you can still manage, right? When the other 2, you can still manage with 3. And even with 2, and you keep moving, but it's not going to be as effective as if you have 4. So can you do 2 of these quadrants, or can you do, or maybe the quadrants are facing each other? This is what I did. I looked at, is he a spiritual person? If he's not a spiritual person, is he working at his spirituality? That's one. Is he a good provider? That's one quadrant. Is he a romantica? Which is something that I like. You may have your own different, you have your quadrant, but you have your own different things that bothers. Is he a good provider? That is very important. Is he the best father for your children?
Yes.
Because that's very important. And when I looked at it, he had 3 out of the 4 quadrants. And I'm like, where do I go? Because the devil, is better than the angel outside. I keep telling her that.
Yes.
The
I
devil,
always just categorize it as, so if they ask for, you're at a bridal shower, what is your advice? You've been married for this long. I said everything you put me to see can be broken down in different ways when you see that it's not making sense. But the one thing I hold high up is kindness.
I always say, that's
Always.
just be kind to one another.
kind.
I feel that is the most important ingredient
Kind, because
that
I said
keeps every
kindness is
relationship.
attractive. I am friends with my husband, so outside of the love, we're doing stuff, we are friends outside of it. So friends as friends can be, but will I rely on his kindness? He can be anything else in the world.
Kindness
He's a kind man. So I always say, anywhere I go to, the one reason.
Same thing I say. Same thing.
Yes.
I was expecting you to say that too when you said one thing. I say that, and a few them. It's funny. A few days ago, I was thinking about that. I said, it's not only in marriage that kindness works.
Exactly.
in every relationship.
Every relationship.
Is it between the employer and employee?
Yes.
Is it the employee and the employer?
Yes.
Is it between friends?
Yes.
Yes.
And I was looking at that. I think it was how I was thinking about. I was like, what worked between me and me is kindness. The thing she says to me is kind. The thing I say to her is kind. And even for my husband, he's a very kind person. He may have his things, but he is
When it
kind.
comes down to it.
And what
Yes.
exactly what I say to people when you're getting married.
Yes. Just make sure you're
Just
with
make sure you're
kindness.
kind to one another.
Yes.
And kindness is the best ingredient, not love.
Not love.
Yes.
Love is never
romance.
enough. I don't know if love is
Love
ever
is never enough.
enough.
And I keep telling, so when people say, oh, I need to love, you don't need to love. Do you connect? Yes.
Yes.
Does he read books that probably resonates with you, that would build him as a person? That because life is a process. We are all evolving.
Absolutely. And you know, in
I
saying
love that.
Yes. We are.
That evolving and
Evolving.
who I
Absolutely.
was at 23
You-
isn't the same person at 33
Definitely not.
No,
and now
Definitely
43.
not.
It
And people do not
it's-
understand
People
that.
do not understand that.
I mean, you know, when we speak about being cordial, so my ex-husband and I, we're speaking terms,
Okay.
and we're very cordial.
Okay.
Like we have an understanding when it comes to our son. This is what is going to happen. This is how it's going to happen, and we communicate. I made sure I went and met his wife, so I know who I'm dealing with and what my
Yeah.
son is dealing with, and that's it. So what he does is what I like about him. Sometimes he'll call me and say, "Oh, he's doing this, this, and this, and this," and just remember he'll call you. So just remember I already
mentioned.
So I'm like, okay, and I appreciate that
Yes.
because
Yeah.
it actually makes sure we're on the same page. He said, let him not play us against each other because this is what
That's what they do
this is
these
what they
days.
do, the kids and people, and we women have a problem. We like to do these things, make the child make him feel
Overcompensate.
yes, and make the child feel like the dad. Then
He's
they
a
can
bad
see that the
person.
dad is a
Demon.
bad person, the demon.
Yes.
and we put this in the child's head, and I say no. We need both parents.
We need-
no
as
matter
a
you are
team, like you
yes,
said.
whether you are together or whether you're separate, the child needs both parents. And I mean, I'm lucky enough. I had a fantastic family support. My dad's always been there. So my kid had this role model. The dads were not there. And I say, you know, I thank him for that because there's a lot of things I think about and I say, if my dad wasn't there, what would have happened? I wouldn't have had these kind of kids that I have today who are respectful, they're kind, they you know they know the value of a parent now. That like when they were younger, no, they didn't know. They just they were crazy. Now as they're growing older,
I
they
know people tell me
understand.
that,
Yes.
oh, you need to spiritually put them in this place, they need to do this, I said, sometimes, and this is another stigma that is put on women,
Yeah.
some divorced women have dedicated their lives to just focusing on their children.
Yes.
They'll go to Islamia, go to
church, yes.
That's all they're doing. So very spiritually committed to not dating.
Not
Yeah.
dating.
I know my mom has friends that are committed to not dating because I want to raise these children in God.
So that they don't look down on
Guess
me
what?
that
They have the nastiest children.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me, oh, she didn't pray enough, oh, she didn't do this enough. No.
It's not.
Society has a way of changing the way this person is thinking. I've done all I could.
Yes.
All I'm still trying.
Yes.
And they don't give up. And you look at them and you can't help but pity them.
Correct.
So how is my face supposed to I don't know how I'm going to lie to you and say, your son is okay. No, your son is not okay.
It's not.
Not okay.
Yeah.
And I can see that you're trying.
Right there,
Yes.
the community, the parenting.
Yes.
Right
yes.
there.
Community.
You know, we
Yes.
keep every episode we've had
We
over there,
emphasize.
we emphasize the community parenting. Because somebody would have just smiled at her and say, oh, your child is okay,
Oh,
and
God
he's
will
not.
help us.
Or God will help us.
And we're trying to. So I miss the times when growing up, we're brought up together, Christians and Muslims.
Yes.
So where I live
Especially
right
in the
now,
north.
In the north.
Especially
Where I live
in
right
the
now,
north.
Then we would have. So the cellular clothes were not new, but they were things that you could only wear to church. So that's what you wear, and then you're going round to my friend's mom. God rest her soul. She would put us in the car with the driver. She would bake, and every house we would go to probably 30 houses, dropping cakes.
Yes.
Celebrating.
Wow. Yes.
And that was so much fun because fathers are now giving money and just doing
We also do the same in South Africa.
Yeah, it's the same thing here.
So where I live right now, we try to raise our children in the
Together.
same way.
Wow.
So my neighbor's daughter, little Amma, you can't be out without your
Yes.
So my daughter asked me one day, why don't you tell me to go? I said, no, Amma has to do it because her religion says she has to.
Yes.
If you need explanation, go talk to her mom,
Yes.
and she will explain it to you. And if you decide that's what you want to do,
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
it's totally up to you. Do you understand? And so that my neighbor, he would not see my son maybe talking to or doing something. He would attack. Are you okay? So we're raising them all
Together.
That's
So
fantastic. They all have to
fantastic.
sit down together.
Oh, that is
This
fantastic.
But you see, there's only so much.
You
Because
can't-
one time, I give you an example. One of the guys that teaches Allo and Islamia,
yes.
the Malam came and he said, "Oh, all Christians are going to hell." And then this affected this little child. So she goes to her mom. So are you telling me that Auntie Tata is going to hell? So she got so angry.
Wow.
I was the one now begging on behalf of the man, no, he can't come back here. These are the extremists. These are the people that, thank God, our children are vocal enough to speak to us. So you see how society affects everyone. You don't know where this guy is coming from.
Exactly.
Who raised him?
Who raised
what did they
him?
tell him?
Where did
He's
they
just saying what he
knows.
And this child will sit down and just think the same way in divorce. Even if, this auntie leaves now, we can't talk. No, we're all together. We've always been together. Even if there's a new auntie, we will be cordial, but we're all one family.
Correct.
Everyone needs to, if they decide they don't want to be, that's on them, but we are all.
So this whole scenario that you said now. So if maybe Amma's mom, let me use Amma's mom is divorced
Yes.
and she has her children, the community parenting would help to compensate
Absolutely.
the lack of the man figure that is not there, because the men in the community now will raise them together. And these are the things that we keep talking about in every episode. We need to bring these things back. I'm so grateful and thank
Very
you.
important. It's the
Thank
most
you.
important thing.
Thank you. The
Because it's
most
our
important
children
thing
now that have to.
And then
Tolerance.
you just said something. Our children.
Yes.
That was what we knew growing up.
Absolutely.
That was what we knew, our children. We're not saying that person's child or that person's child. This we're saying, and then when you said something about, okay, so growing up, when my children were younger, what we used to do is when you learn from the Islamia, you learn from the, we got a malam from somewhere because I wanted them to have, before they finished their primary school, before they go to secondary school, they finished the Quran. So I brought a malam into the boys' quarters to stay, and then in the morning they learn Quran, and then they in the evenings they learn the Quran. But then one thing we did together as a family is that we had this, and I think I've mentioned it in so many places. We have this, and I learned it from my senior brother. We used to have this morning after Subi prayers, we sit down and open these different books and stories of the Prophet we read together. I now began to teach them the way I know Islam.
And that is fantastic.
You know, and they teach me from where, like what you said, Amma said to her mom.
Yes.
My daughter came to me and told me that, in their school they said that all Muslims are going to go to hell. You know, so we need to be having this conversation with the children, and then this way we raise them together.
And how
So
does
that
this even
the-
affect? Sorry to interrupt you. If one child is from a divorced home and is hearing this without the support of every other person around them, you can imagine how this child will treat the mom, how this child will turn out, and how society will just break them.
That's it.
Because these men are going to be the ones that are raising you, will go together when you're going to get married.
Yes.
We are her
Fathers.
That's
If we
Our own
continue
dad,
that we are, and then the stigma goes down. We need to be intentional about
Yes,
this.
yes.
Like each community, in wherever you find yourself, you are in Abuja.
Yes.
That's it.
I mean, that's how cosmopolitan they
Yes.
say get.
Yes.
You are in Abuja, you're doing that. If every community in Nigeria can do that, like every community we find ourselves, and we need, somebody was saying it in one of the podcasts, we need to get this information down to the grassroots.
Yes.
I mean,
Because that was how we grew up. That's
Yes.
who we
The
are.
foundation of what?
As Africans, that's the
Exactly.
foundation.
I think, you know, the aspect of counseling before marriage. I love that
What the
Christians
Christians do.
do. In the Muslims, we don't have that. You
Okay.
can hardly
Yes.
even find it.
They've
And it's
started now.
required. Yes, it's not
started
it's
now.
not
Uh-huh.
as, and we need that. It's required. Where you sit down, you interview these people, and let them know that you are two different people.
Yes.
Don't expect him to be like your mother or your father. Don't expect it because it doesn't work.
It doesn't work like that.
Yes, you need to find that thing that attracts the both of you together. What is that thing? And don't say you love each other. Forget about it.
No.
Because the youngsters today, it's I love him, she loves
And
him.
then I don't feel loved.
It
I
doesn't
don't.
feel-
One video that I put
Yeah.
on my status is that I don't feel I love him anymore. So
You
I
know,
think we should start thinking of
divorce.
divorce. It is not that easy.
not.
There are consequences for every action that we
Yes,
take.
I mean, when I got divorced from my husband, I still loved him. This was the love of my life. I loved him, and I loved him for years later. He was in me because there were some things that I found that worked for me, but I could not stay in the abuse.
Yes.
And this is the way he's his nature, the way he knows what he does.
That's what he knows. That was how he knew him, brother.
And I cannot now sacrifice myself because I still loved him. And I always loved him because there were qualities, things that he taught me. I was still a young bride. He taught me so many good things. You know, and for me it was like it's somebody that I need to appreciate, although he had that side. So I'm saying that if you love somebody, it's not enough. I'm giving this again.
Yes.
It's not enough. Love is not enough. There's so many other things that comes with it, and you only know as you get older. If there's nobody to tell you this when you're younger, that's why you find a lot of women lose themselves. A lot of girls don't know whether they're coming or going because of the love thing, and because I love him. It's okay because I love him.
And then the Western angle to it,
Yes.
and I tell my children now they're older, and I say the Western. I said these things that you people say. Sorry, I don't want to be insensitive, but that I love him, then I'm going to go and commit suicide, or I'm going to go and do this. This is not who we are.
It's not who we
I know
are.
some people say it's mental health, but it is not who we are because I don't know. I think there's much more. I think what one of our panelists said, one of our guests said the last time was that you need, I think as mothers, we need to build resilience in our children.
Correct. Which brings me to, I had a conversation with a friend of mine this morning, and we agreed. So I call her my therapy session whenever I'm talking to her. Because I'm always against therapy.
Okay.
One of my best friends. One of my
We have
best
too
friends.
much in common.
One of my best friends said, "I think your problem is just traumatized and you need therapy." I said, "I don't know why I would tell someone my issue." She said, "When you talk, we sit down, we talk."
Yes.
I'm like, "No, it's not."
Yes.
But I'm understanding. And I said to my friend, the other friend now, I said, "Look, what I don't understand with people is you sit down and an example is a woman saying to her friend, at least your husband is even doing well. He is providing, he's doing this, he's doing that.
Yes.
Look at my room, what's that one doing?" So I said to her, I said, "Have you ever thought that he sits down with guys that are thriving, and the guys will say, your wife is a prayerful one, that's why you're getting all this things." Have you thought about it? So if you think that you're going through a lot, he's also going through a lot. And I feel like men go through a lot because they can't talk, they can't say anything.
Correct.
He's not going to go and sit down there.
Yes.
It's easy for me to say, "Oh my God, your husband bought you this. Oh my goodness,
Yes.
this guy is just the best guy in the
Yes.
world. Oh my God, your husband."
And
Then I
must
also
it,
myself
even, must it even be about things?
That's what
because that's what
do.
people generalize.
That's what they do.
And they sit down.
We need to
Yes.
really talk about it. Must your husband buying you things?
That is what people
An
equate with
expression of
love.
That's what
love.
they-
A
Yes.
large percentage of people.
Yes.
And I said, for me, for any woman that I sit down with and you say, I can never contribute to anything in this house, he has to do 100%, unless he says it. And I'm willing to, okay, you're still not a normal person to me. So I'm telling my friend, and she said, you do realize that these things happen. And it took someone close to them to say, look, what you're thinking I'm doing, I am not, it's my wife. And everybody just went.
Oh, wow.
So if you're thinking of leaving your husband because, he's not doing I will never leave my wife because she's helping me. Everything is for a season.
Everything is
goes wrong. So now when we talk about love, our deeply rooted foundation is in family. We do things together. We just we're from good homes and everything. But now it's not about, that's not what they consider. It's more of what I can get. How much can you give me?
What you're going to give me? How much you're going to give me? What you're going to buy?
What are we competing?
Materialism.
Yes.
So what we're saying basically here in this conversation is that materialism is one of the factors destroying, that causing divorces.
And I will be honest to say, and I've said it a billion and one times, and my husband will say, no, this is not politically right. You can't say things like this in public. And I'm like, no. Some people are not supposed to be married.
Correct. You can say that again. Yes.
Some men are going through a lot because
like
of
I
this.
said, some mothers are not supposed to give birth. God forgive me.
No, it's true.
Because I don't know.
The guys
There's
go
so
through a
much.
lot.
Yes.
And if you sit down, you're trying to explain, it's easy for you to say because everything is handed over to you. I'm like, hey, call him.
You don't even know my life.
You can't say that. Everybody makes an effort. Anybody can feel like dropping down. There are times that you make an amount that you've never made, and you just feel, I've arrived. I don't need a man. I don't need anything in my life. So if my focus is money, I don't need anybody.
So then that means we also need to identify that. Why do people even get married at all? Is it because of what
they stand to
gain? That's it.
So
because
this high rate
if it started from if it comes from
if it's
all
abuse,
of these
if
things,
you tell me it's abuse, you tell me that, and some people will just agree to disagree. You don't want, let's just go our separate ways. It's not as exciting as we thought. It's different. But I wish the statistics will show the causes. So let us focus on what is causing
the divorce.
Let us agree that men want you to add value to yourself so that you're not seen as just I'm providing for you.
Or a liability.
And you, the woman too, that she wants her man to provide for her because we know that men are supposed to provide for us.
Correct.
But where there is a shift, because everyone has their own different levels, are we focused on being together because you know what, this is the right thing to do, or I'm not getting what I'm supposed to be getting materially?
And then I think this conversation is something that people should begin to speak about. We have young girls here who are going to kick. We have young girls here who are, we're praying that they get married someday. These are conversations that they should sit down and define. When he says he loves you, define love. What is love? Because what is love to you is not what is love to you, and what is love to you.
We wouldn't say this. What is love to me is not love for my sister. That's my blood sister. It's not love for my daughter.
Yes.
You have older kids.
Exactly.
So, and if they're married now, you sometimes even, how did I raise this girl? Because her own idea of love is what's going on?
What's going on?
Did I raise you? Madam, come back home. Let's have
right.
So these discussions need to happen. Okay, what are your expectations? Both of you need to define that. And these are things
almost like doing a SWOT
analysis.
analysis.
Do a SWOT analysis for marriage. Because we're now aware of all of these things. So now because of our awareness, and then the children are not young like us. I got married when I was 19. She got married around that time. So now
And I tell you a joke. I got married. I met my husband at 22. Got married at 23. At that point, my mom thought, nobody can marry this one. This is my daughter. Till today, we laugh about it. Your mates were getting married 18, 19. I'm Christian.
Yes.
But your mates were getting married 18. Wait, let me enjoy my life. Let me understand. Did I ever enjoy the life?
But
No. But then, so I made sure, and I pointed out to my kids, that's why I'm still enjoying my life.
Because
See,
you're
because-
mentally matured and aware
Yes.
about it.
And I say that 1,000,001 fights that we had between that first 5 to 10 years wouldn't have happened if I was more mature and more knowledgeable.
Yes.
Wisdom. Maybe I didn't catch up with wisdom on time, but why? There were certain things that were just not necessary. Now society has said, married, I just thank God I didn't follow that because I was willing to know. That's when I'm okay. I'll just, but
Yes, so what you're saying now is that there's no rush. Just go with the flow. And this is what I tell my own children. I got married very early, but I told them there's no rush. Take your time.
Yes.
When it's time,
Especially
when it's Allah's time.
Yes.
When it's Allah's time, it's Allah's time.
yes, I agree.
Because we're all created, and we're not giving any manual.
Yes.
Allah is not telling you that you're getting married at this time. Everybody, like when some of my friends are not yet married, and these are when they say, you're lucky. I'm not. It's not luck.
It's not.
This is how this was how my life was supposed to be. This was how your life was supposed to be. And probably some things, what you have, I don't have. What I have, you don't have.
Some of the best people are not even married.
Yes.
You can say that again.
And they're okay.
Yes, and they're okay.
And it's not that serious. And one thing before we round up, there's something that I tell the young people, and I think I mentioned it a few days ago. And I said, some of us put marriage on our head. It has to work very well. I must do this. I must do that. Leave marriage here. Be you and be married.
That's it.
And allow what's most important, be kind to him.
That's it.
And demand kindness.
I respect it.
And respect.
My mom would just. So, have you're with your husband, you were married. Do you find a common thing where every man just believes you don't respect me?
Yeah. Even the minute you speak and say something, you have no respect for me. Like,
So
what is respect?
So I would have
time-
thought, I said, I'm very bad, I can talk, I'll
Yes,
just
yes.
do. My husband knows how to put me in my place with all my grammar.
Yes.
Get back,
Yes.
Okay, I'm back in the house. Oh my goodness. Oh, Tata, I've just been bullied because these are the type of things my friends are talking about. No man should talk to me like this. But what I think of my mom's voice, it's just okay, that's it. But I found one of the ladies that they think the best wife. Like I look at her and I think, are you normal? The respect was the day the husband said, you don't respect me. I said, no, all of you are not. I said, all of you are just not. No, I won't take that. I won't take that.
Because you see, the first thing
She said that to me, but she can't say that to her. She is like the most.
My friend was telling me that, have you ever asked your husband, that's like 15, 20 years back,
Yeah.
have you ever asked your husband what he saw in you before you got married? And I thought, okay, I've never done that. Then I asked him, what did you see in me that you wanted to spend the rest of your life? He said, your humility.
Oh, yes.
But guess what? Sometimes when we're fighting, you are arrogant. And I'm like, okay. And then like you, my friends tell me that the way you respect your husband, like I kneel down, I still do.
She still does.
I still do.
Like how
I kneel down for him.
When she greets him.
When I greet him, and if I
Yes.
I still do.
Yes.
But hey,
this podcast.
yes,
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
yes, I still
She
do.
still does.
And then still,
I might not
that's
have decided this
respect.
because you're going to watch it. I keep telling you, you need to respect me more. You need to do this. Oh wow.
Yes. And then he says, well, it's a Nupe thing.
Okay. Yes.
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 It's my culture.
yes,
It's what is how I was wired. It
Yes.
was, and I can't do otherwise.
Yes.
And even when I was working in the bank, my superiors, I used to like bow for them, but not like my husband. Of
Yes.
course.
Yes. But I love that about Nupe. Yes.
That's the Nupe thing to
yes.
do. So and still sometimes, and one day, one of my friends was like, he said you don't have respect. You
Exactly.
like so yeah.
But do you find your kids doing the same?
No, the kids are very different.
So last year I was in the US. My daughter is there, and some of my friends came in and she came, oh, Sanung Kwinawi
Why are you just there?
Okay. So I would even want to see her like with her husband because I'm trying to see if you see again we're going back to culture.
Yeah.
How do you greet in South Africa?
In South Africa.
There's a Bab something that's a sign of respect, right?
Yes.
Bab, the person's name.
Yes.
So here I think it's what we do, uncle.
Yes.
Oh, we say
Yeah,
like I
yeah,
say my husband,
yeah,
legend or something.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. When I hear her, I'm like, oh, okay. I would do that.
And she looks at me, she's what do you tell me? Say you're not normal.
Oh my God.
She said, and she sometimes talks to the husband and she says, sir. I'm like, okay.
So do you have like a clique of friends? Does this happen? Do you have a clique of friends and they know the ones that are like mad people that never say anything and then there's some goody two shoes. So you fall in that
She's a
category.
goody
So
two-shoes.
whenever that happens,
She-
let me show you what happens when you walk in or when we're in your house having tea and he walks in. You know, we just come closer to each other. She's about to do it. She's about to go there. She's about to go there.
So thank you very much for watching, and we have to say
We have
Yes,
to
that's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah,
We do it again.
yeah, we need to
Yes,
do
absolutely. It was
yes, and there's so
fantastic.
many topics we're going to talk about, and we want to be doing this and having fun.
Yes.
Again, my name is Khadija Abdullahi Iya. We have wonderful
Halima Yunusa.
And Dr. Maimuna Salim, the queen of it all. And the co-host. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.